Out to the legal landscape. Our legal analyst, attorney Dan Adams, joins us every Monday to break down the biggest cases happening across Wisconsin and the country. Dan, good morning to you. Good to see you. On Friday, a judge sentenced Maxwell Anderson to life in prison without parole for killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson after a first date in April of 2024. It was one of the first times that we've heard from him in court on Friday. He maintained his innocence, said he didn't do this. So now what are his options post-conviction and post-sentencing?
Hey, good morning. And his statement in court tells you that he's probably going to avail himself of his appellate rights. Maxwell Anderson, just like any criminal defendant in the United States, has a right to counsel beyond the trial court into the first stages of a criminal appeal. A criminal appeal basically means he will have either a court-appointed attorney or go out and hire his own appellate attorney to review all of the actions in the trial court level, look for mistakes. Usually in a successful appeal, what will happen is the appellate attorney will find something that was raised at the trial level, a Fourth Amendment, a Fifth Amendment, or a Sixth Amendment type challenge to some evidence, and revise that argument and say that the trial court made an error and the Court of Appeals has to correct that. In this case, there wasn't a lot of legal challenges brought before trial, and really the trial was based on the sufficiency of the evidence, whether there was enough to tie Maxwell Anderson to the charges he was ultimately convicted on. Court of Appeals don't like to attack those type of convictions to put themselves in the place of the jury. So as it stands, Maxwell Anderson does not have many great issues for appeal, but he certainly has the right to go through those motions. We probably won't hear anything from the Court of Appeals or even his appellate lawyer for months, if not years.
Yeah, and we have heard from his legal team that he does plan to appeal the conviction, so much more to come from that. Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was just transferred to a minimum security prison, has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn her conviction. What's her argument here, and could the Supreme Court actually take this case up?
So Ghislaine Maxwell actually does have a good appellate issue. Basically, back in 2007, Jeffrey Epstein entered into a non-prosecution agreement with the Southern District of Florida. That's the federal trial district in Florida. He made a deal, which was later criticized routinely, and then he was later charged in New York courts. The federal courts in New York. After his suicide, Maxwell was then charged as basically a co-conspirator. Well, his 2007 non-prosecution agreement called for him not being prosecuted, but also his co-conspirators for that time span in the early aughts not to be charged with any crimes. The courts in New York said, no, this does not apply to any other area other than the Southern District of Florida. They had her trial. She was convicted and ultimately sentenced to these 20 plus years in federal prison. She's reviving that claim. It's going up to the Supreme Court because there's a split among circuits. Essentially around the country, there's a split about how to look at these non-prosecution agreements when there is kind of ambiguous language. She's made her petition to the Supreme Court of the United States. Of course, the United States only takes about 1% of all petitions to them for ultimate decision making. This comes in light of her also, we think, applying for a pardon from President Trump.
All right, Dan, it's always great to have your insight on a Monday. We'll see you next Monday for more of the legal landscape.